again, it's only me, and I'm painting portraits. I started this yesterday and I was about to start painting it again right now. I've got my paints out ready to rock and roll. I've got my pickled onions, my pickled onion jar, my little scrap of paper to test out little bits of painting, and then I thought, hold on for a second, why don't I just film this and it would make quite a nice video. Obviously I've already painted the eyes here, so you know that's already done and dusted, but I'm going to crack on with the rest of the face. I'm going to try and finish this today, and then I'll probably paint another face at some point in the near future, and I will also put that in this video as well. I don't really know how many paintings I'll get done in this video. It'll be at least 2, and if I'm feeling adventurous, maybe I'll get 3 in this video. I'm just going to have a nice chill time painting, and I might check in with you a couple of times, but for the majority of this video it's just going to be voiceover. It'll just be a nice relaxing chat whilst this is going on in the background. That's the plan. Hopefully you like this video, and I'll hand you over to the voiceover, and I will get painting this face. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me show you the picture I'm using as reference. I just found this on Pinterest, and here it is, and I'm going to get painting away. Yeah, so it was a bit of an impromptu, spur of the moment thing to make this video. I was about to start painting and then just thought, hey, why don't I just film this, because I don't really have that many videos where I'm painting portraits. I usually like to do that sort of off camera. I think I've painted 2 portraits in videos in the past, so yeah, not really that many, so I thought I would dedicate a whole video to just doing portraits, because I've never, apart from once before, done that. The last full-on portrait video I did was when I did my self-portrait, going on 2 years ago now. Also, I just want to say I got braces a few days ago. Well, I had braces for a while, my bottom braces, but I got my top braces a few days ago, and I had to have this bar put in between my back 2 teeth, and it's just making speaking quite difficult, and there's just so much spit in my mouth, I'm not gonna lie. So if I sound a bit odd, if I sound a bit spitty, that is why. Hopefully I'll get used to it in a little bit. Anyway, enough about what's going on in my mouth. Back to the painting. The brand of oil paints that I use, if I didn't say, I'm doing this in oil paints, and the brand of oil paints I use are by the brand, I've said brand too much, by Winsor & Newton. They're my go-to brand for a lot of things. I use their acrylics, their watercolours. I just think they're a nice brand, and they're a reasonable price and decent quality, so that's just what I use. I don't use that many colours. I have kind of the bare minimum amount of colours you need to paint a face. Although saying that, I used to only paint faces. I had just a basic red, yellow and blue, and then white, and that used to be like everything I needed to paint a portrait, just those 3 colours in white. I've since slightly upgraded, and I've got myself burnt sienna, I think it's called raw umber as well. Oh, and then just like I don't know what it's called, just brown. So I've upgraded a little bit. Oh, and I also have 2 different shades of yellow and 2 different shades of blue. So yeah, still not that many different colours to choose from, and I kind of find it helps not having a lot of colours to choose from, because although I feel like I'm decent at mixing colours, it takes me quite a while to get something right sometimes. Sometimes I can get the colour like bang on straight away, and then there are some other colours which I can just be trying to mix again and again, and I just can't quite figure it out. So by having a limited colour palette to choose from, it kind of narrows down the options of like colours to try and figure out which ones to use. That's what I do. I find it helps to just limit my colour palette down, and even though I have all those colours out on my palette, I don't necessarily use them all. They're just there from like other paintings that I do. I just like to keep them on my palette, because oil paints take a very long time to dry. So I hate throwing them away. I'll paint something and then I'll go back to paint something the week later, and even there'll be like a little skin over the paint which I have to kind of peel off, but like the paint under that is ready to rock and roll, and I just don't like throwing it away. So you know, my palette's quite messy just because I don't like to clean it, because there's still some good paint on there. Yeah, sorry about the eyes being already painted. I did them obviously off camera when I didn't realise I was going to make a video about this painting, and I'm actually really happy with how the eyes turned out. I like to do the eyes first because, well, they're just the fiddliest bit, so I like to get them out of the way, and I feel like if you've got the likeness right on the eyes, you're kind of halfway there, you know what I mean? Because they're just like the key feature that you're drawn to. So I like to just get the eyes out of the way and done, and they always take the longest just because there's so much little fiddly bits you have to do with an eye. Lips are pretty easy, I find. They're just kind of 2 little blobs of colour. Noses, sometimes I get noses I don't know, it depends with them. Sometimes I can paint a nose quite easily and there'll be no real hassle, and then other noses they just baffle me, and they just take me so long. This one I think was an in-between nose. It took me a little bit to do, but not that much. Oh, and also, sorry, I didn't really film much of the nose because, well, I basically filmed none of the nose because my camera ran out of battery just as I was about to start painting it, and I thought, you know what, Emily, you got your paints out. I was in the painting mood. I just didn't fancy stopping for a few hours to wait for my battery to charge, and so sorry about that. I ended up just painting the nose off camera, but the face I paint after this, you'll see the whole process. Yeah, this one's kind of been a lot missing. You didn't get to see the eyes or the nose. Hey, but you got to see the ear. That's what everyone's here for. If you've watched a lot of my videos, you might know that portrait painting is not something I do very often, especially as of recent because I've started uni. I'm doing illustration at uni, so obviously a lot of the work I'm doing is illustrations and quite stylised and cartoony, not realistic oil painting portraits. So why am I doing this exactly? Well, first off, I used to do a lot of oil paintings like this in A-levels, and it was quite a big passion for me, and when I finished A-levels I was kind of torn between, do I go into illustration or do I go into fine art and portrait painting, and that's why I did a year of foundation to figure out what I wanted to do, and that's when I figured out, yep, illustration, that's the route I want to take. And even though I really like illustration, obviously there's still a little part of me which likes doing portraits and kind of misses it sometimes, so I thought whilst it's the holidays, it's Easter holidays at the moment, so we've got 3 weeks off. I say weeks off, I still have a lot of uni work to do, but I'm trying to give myself a little bit more leeway and a little bit more time to do personal projects, and so that's why I'm doing some portrait painting, because I just really wanted to do it. I missed it, see if I could still do it, get back into it. I've been painting portraits in my last week of art video. You saw me painting portrait a little bit, and in a few previous videos recently they've been popping up a little bit just because I have been giving myself a little bit more time to do projects which I want to do which aren't uni related, and then obviously you've got a full video of portraits here. I think I'm going to try and paint one more before I really focusing on uni work. I've kind of neglected uni work a little bit more than I should have, but I just really want to work on my own personal things at the moment. I will get back onto uni work. I'll probably start it next week. I will get back onto uni work. I've got a big project I have to finish for that, which I'm sure I'll keep you guys updated with in future videos. But for the meantime, just having a little break from it, doing my own personal projects, doing these portraits. And I learned a lot from these two paintings, and especially when I compare my paintings to the ones I was doing in A-levels, I have improved a lot. Well, I think I've improved a lot. I've become one with the portrait painting. I still feel like I have a lot to learn, and I know this might sound a bit, silly to some of you, but I still feel like I'm a beginner, very much a beginner to portrait painting. I see paintings done by people who have been doing it for years and years and years, and it's basically their job, and they're masters at painting, and obviously one day I'd like to get there, but having chosen illustration for uni, that portrait painting just has to take a back seat sometimes. And it's not like I don't like illustration, obviously I love it because I wouldn't have chosen it otherwise, and that is my passion. If I had to choose illustration over painting, I would go for illustration every day because I just much prefer it. But there's just something about portrait painting when I'm in the zone, when I'm painting away, it's just so relaxing. I'm just really proud when I'm finished with them. I just find it quite challenging, but challenging in a good way. It's kind of like a big puzzle I have to solve to get the face painted, and I just really enjoy it. Anyway, so I painted the whole face, and I'm just going in with the background colour, because obviously I paint that really bright kind of pinkish purple down, but it doesn't really match properly with the face and looks a bit odd. So what I like to do is add a colour on top which just mutes down the really vibrant background colour, but I don't like to get rid of all of it. I like to have bits poking out because I do like the colour and I want it to just still interact with the painting a little bit. So I leave gaps when I'm painting this colour on now, so you can still see a bit of the underneath colour I put on before. Again, I finished this portrait a few days ago, and I think it's about time I get started with another one. Here's a finished painting because I didn't actually show it at the end when I finished it. I'll pop some nicer clips of it in now. Yeah, I'm going to get started on another painting. I've already got my picture picked out for what I'm going to paint. I had a good dig through Pinterest and I found this picture of a man There you go, quite dark. Oh, it just looks like a floating head on the camera, but it's not that dark in real life. Yeah, I decided to paint a man because I haven't painted a man in quite a while, so I thought it's about time I did. Plus, I wanted to try and tackle wrinkles and someone with a bit more age to their face, a bit more like texture, and a bit more interest, because she has like, this one had really smooth skin, so it was quite easy to paint, but wrinkles a little bit more challenging, so I thought it was about time I practiced them. So I've got another sheet of paper ready to go. I never show this, but I paint on my paper first some slightly watered down PVA glue, and it just gives it a slightly silky finish, which makes the paint much easier to put on. And now I'm going to paint the background colour, so sort of this. I don't know what colour I'm going to paint, although I have a feeling I'm just going to go for the exact same colours because I really liked this colour scheme, and I think this will look nice as an underpainting on the picture of the man. Let's get started with that. I think on my background colour now, basically exactly the same colour as I did for the first painting, although it's slightly a bit more redder than purple. I don't always use this colour for the background of paintings. Sometimes I go for red, orange, mainly red and orange. Red, orange, pink or purple, they're the colours I mainly go for when choosing which colour to put on the background. Although looking back on it, I think a nice pale blue would have worked quite well with this painting as well. I don't really know what colour to do for the background. Sometimes I just instantly have an idea and I think, oh yeah, that colour would really complement that skin tone nicely. But for this one, I was struggling. I just couldn't figure out which colour to put on the background. So in the end, I just thought, I'll go with the same one that I did last time because it seemed to work well for the last one, so it might work well for this one. Which I think it does. I just think a blue might have worked a little bit better with his skin tone. But hey ho, what's done is done. Moving on to the eyes. And you'll see me speak about it a little bit later on in the video, but I end up not being happy with these eyes when I'm done with them, which I'll explain later on. But to say it in a nutshell, I was putting too much detail into them and I was overworking them, and I needed to go back to the drawing board and figure my stuff out, but I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, I wanted to paint this guy because he had a lot of wrinkles, he had skin with a lot of character. The previous painting was very smooth, which is obviously a lot easier to paint than something with wrinkles, so I thought it was about time I practiced it because I've not really had that much experience with painting skin with a lot of character and stuff going on. So I wanted to figure out a way to paint wrinkles without it being too obvious, or like without like going in and painting like loads of thin lines everywhere, because that's just not what I want my paintings to look like. I wanted to paint wrinkles but not paint them at the same time. I don't know if this makes any sense. I wanted to paint the wrinkles by implying them through blocks of colour without actually painting the wrinkles themselves. If that makes any sense. If you did understand that, well done, because I'm not sure if that was very understandable. This is where I started to realise this painting wasn't going how I wanted it to go. I painted the eyes and I wasn't 100% happy with them, and then I did this forehead and absolutely hated how it was going, and that's when I realised things needed to change. I needed to approach this painting in a different way. Okay, so as you can clearly see, quite a bit of time has passed since the last clip, and I'll tell you for why. But I was really unhappy with how this painting was. It feels so weird to speak. I got braces this morning and it's messing up my speaking, so sorry if I sound a bit weird. Yeah, I wasn't very happy with how this painting was turning out, truth be told. So you last saw me working on the eyes. This one I don't mind, this one's okay, but this one just looks a bit funny, and mainly the reason why I don't like it is because I was overworking it. Because the face I'm painting does have quite a few wrinkles, it has a lot of detail. I was trying to paint every single detail, and that just wasn't really me. It wasn't my style. It wasn't looking how I want my paintings to look. When a piece of art's not really going how I want it to go, I just really don't want to film it. So I stopped and I thought, let's just try something new. I went onto Pinterest and I looked at, do I still have it open? Let me show you the sort of paintings that I really like and how I would like to paint one day. These are the sort of paintings which I really like the look of, ones with really simple mark making, not too much detail, but the detail is so I'm finding it really difficult to speak. I've got like this wire going on, it's weird. And yeah, everything's sort of, it's all there, but they haven't painted every single detail. The details are kind of implied. This is gorgeous. I want to paint like this. That's how I would like to paint one day, but that's going to take a lot of practice, and obviously I'm not there yet. Instead of painting how I've always painted, which is working on it section by section, I thought I'd be loose and just block in all the colours really loosely. Obviously the eyes look a bit funny at the moment because they're the only bit with detail, so they kind of stand out in a weird way. So if we it's hard to speak. If we remove the eyes, I actually really like the way that painting looks. I much prefer the loose look. Obviously it's nowhere near done, but I don't want to get sucked into the trap of overworking it like I did on the eyes, cause that's just not how I want my paintings to look. For this painting I didn't have to worry so much about overworking because the woman had really smooth, kind of flawless skin, so there wasn't really that much detail to paint because the skin was just smooth. So when a painting like this, my old painting method works fine because there's not really anything to overwork because there's no details to actually paint. But on a face like this with lots of wrinkles and just more interesting features, yeah, it's very easy to just get sucked into painting every single wrinkle, every single mark. But I don't want to do that because that's when I don't like how it looks. Oh, do you like my collage? I did this last night. Was it last night? Oh, it might have been the night before that, because I was just sick of painting and I wanted to do something more illustrative and fun just to get it out of my system. So I got that out of my system, had a nice fun time collaging, and then back to the painting. I think by kind of taking a step back and reevaluating what was going on with this painting, it really did help in the long term by painting the face as a whole in a much looser style. I think it just really helped me see the painting as a whole. Painting the painting as a whole helped me see the painting as a whole. Great sentence there. I think I'm going to try and paint this way all the time, because painting the face feature by feature like I did on the last one, I mean, it works, it gets the job done, but I don't know, it kind of doesn't feel as organic as painting the face as one big painting. I hate the fact I just said the word organic to describe painting, but I've said it now. I sound like my teachers in online lessons. They use the fanciest words to describe things, and I'm just like, what's going on? And I'm turning into them. I'm using fancier words now to describe art. It was organic. Yeah, going back in, so I filled everything in like really block colours, really loosely, and I watered down my acrylic quite a lot with just the thing I use to clean my brushes. It's like basically just white spirit. So my paint was very kind of wet and I was just smudging it around everywhere, and then I went in later and just slightly refined all the areas, made the colours more accurate to how they should look, and just started just taking my time, plonking in colours that were there for a reason rather than just plonking them in and hoping they would work. I made sure each brush stroke was kind of there for a reason and had a job to do. And that's what I did. Going onto Pinterest and looking at people who are 1,000 times better at painting than me really helped. I mean, it kind of does knock your confidence a little bit, but you just need to remember that they're a lot more experienced, but it does help you learn a lot from it. Here's the finished painting, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and this is the two of them together, quite different, very different in colour palette there, but yeah, I learnt a lot from this, and I hope you enjoyed watching me paint and the ups and downs and all the things that come along with it. I hope you found this video somewhat enjoyable and maybe even painted or drew along whilst watching it. And thanks for making it this far into the video, it means a lot. And if you liked what I'm doing, I have a lot more videos like this which you might like as well, so maybe subscribe and like this video if you want to. Yeah, and I'll see you very soon.